The drum stopped in the middle of my hands. One moment, its deep voice filled the night. The next, silence. Not a soft pause. Not a misbeat. Silence like something had died. The whole village froze. Dancers stood still. Firelight flickered on shocked faces. Then slowly, every eye turned to me. "Ayo," someone whispered. My fingers trembled over the drum skin. I struck it again. Nothing. A murmur rose like a storm. Fear. Confusion. Blame. Then I saw him. Kelechi stood at the edge of the crowd, arms folded, a small smile on his lips. Not surprise. Not fear. Satisfaction. "This is a sign," he said loudly. "The ancestors reject him." Gasp followed. My chest tightened. "I did nothing," I said, but my voice sounded small. The elders stepped forward, their faces dark with worry. One of them touched the drum, then pulled back like it had burned him. "The spirit is gone," he whispered. A child began to cry. Then another. The night that was meant for joy turned into fear. And deep inside me, I felt it too. Something was wrong. Something had been broken. By morning, the village no longer felt like home. The drum still sat in the center square, covered in cloth, as if hiding it would hide the truth. But everyone knew. The sacred drum had fallen silent. People avoided me as I walked past. Their whispers followed me like shadows. "He is not worthy. The ancestors have spoken." I kept my head down, my chest heavy. Only Mama Sod, who raised me after my parents died, dared to stand by me. She placed food before me, but I could not eat. "You did not fail," she said softly. "But the drum," I began. She shook her head. "The drum knows truth. And I know you." Her words warmed me, but fear still clung to my heart. Outside, I heard voices arguing. I stepped out and saw Kelechi surrounded by villagers. "This would not have happened if the right person was chosen," he said. His eyes met mine. "You were given honor you did not earn." Anger fled in me, but I held it down. I remembered what the elders always said, the drum listens to the heart. But then why had it gone silent? The sickness began 2 days later. At first, it was small. A child with a fever. Then 2. Then 5. By the end of the week, many lay weak in their homes. The crops followed. Green leaves turned yellow. Stalks bent like they had lost strength. Fear spread faster than the sickness. "The ancestors are angry," people said. "They have turned their backs on us." And again, their eyes found me. I sat before the covered drum that evening, alone. My fingers hovered above it. "I did nothing wrong," I whispered. But doubt crept in. What if I had? What if Kelechi was right? What if I was never meant to be the keeper? A dry wind passed through the square. The cloth over the drum lifted slightly. For a moment, I thought I heard something. A faint breath. I leaned closer. "Who are you?" I whispered. The wind stopped. Silence returned. But I knew then. The drum was not empty. It was waiting. That night, I could not sleep. The air felt heavy, like the village itself was holding its breath. I stepped outside and followed a quiet path toward the forest. I did not know why. Only that something was calling me. At the edge of the trees, I saw her. An old woman, bent with age, her eyes bright like fire. "You finally came," she said. I froze. "Do I know you?" She smiled. "No. But I know you, Ayo." A chill ran through me. "The drum has not died," she said. "It has been silenced." My heart raced. "By who?" She stepped closer. "By deceit." A name formed in my mind, but I did not say it. "The drum is alive," she continued. "It listens to truth. It rejects lies. Then why did it stop? I asked. She looked at me deeply. Because a light touched it. My chest tightened. Can it be fixed? Yes, she said. But not here. She pointed into the forest. You must go where truth cannot hide. The dark tree stretched before me. And for the first time, I felt real fear. I returned before dawn, my mind racing. The elders gathered later that day. Their faces were lined with worry. The sickness grows, one said. The crops are dying, said another. They turned to me. You are the keeper, the eldest said. Fix this. The weight of his words pressed on me. I may know how, I said slowly. Murmurs filled the air. There is a place in the forest, I continued. The drum must be taken there. Kelechi laughed. So now you chase stories like a child. I ignored him. This is no time for foolishness, another elder said. But then Mama Sod spoke. What other choice do we have? Silence followed. Finally, the eldest nodded. You will go, he said. But you will not go alone. My eyes lifted. Kelechi will go with you. The crowd gasped. Kelechi's smile faded for a moment. Then it returned, sharper than before. Of course, he said. I felt a chill. Whatever waited in that forest, I would not face it alone. We left at sunrise. The drum was heavy, tied carefully and carried between us. The path into the forest was narrow and quiet. Too quiet. Kelechi walked ahead, his back straight, his steps firm. You are lucky, he said without turning. The elders still believe in you. I said nothing. You should thank me, he continued. That made me stop. For what? He turned, his eyes cold. For showing them the truth. My stomach tightened. What do you mean? He smiled. Nothing. We walked on, but his words stayed with me. After hours, the forest grew darker. The trees stood taller, their roots twisting like snakes. Then we heard it. A low hum. The drum in my hands felt warm. It's leading us, I whispered. Kelechi said nothing. But I saw his grip tighten. And for the first time, I wondered. What was he hiding? By nightfall, we reached a clearing. At its center stood a stone altar, cracked with age. The hum grew louder. I placed the drum down carefully. The moment it touched the stone, a deep sound echoed through the air. Not a beat. A voice. Kelechi stepped back. What is this? He asked. The truth, I said, though I barely understood it myself. The old woman's words returned to me. It rejects lies. I closed my eyes and placed my hand on the drum. Tell me what happened, I whispered. Images flashed in my mind. Hands. Dark. Angry. Touching the drum in secret. A whisper of jealousy. Then I saw the face. My eyes flew open. Kelechi, I said. He froze. You touched the drum. Silence fell. Then he laughed. So what if I did? My heart sank. You broke it. No, he snapped. You broke it the moment they chose you. His voice shook with anger. I only showed the truth. But the drum trembled beneath my hand. And I knew. The truth was far worse. You don't understand, Kelechi said, his voice rising. I trained for this. I deserved it. And so you cursed the village? I asked. His face hardened. I didn't know it would do this. But you still did it. He looked away. I only wanted the drum to reject you, he said quietly. The air grew cold. The drum does not choose by pride, I said. It chooses by heart. Then it chose wrong, he shouted. The ground trembled. The drum pulsed with a dark glow. A voice echoed around us. Deceit must be answered. Kelechi stepped back in fear. What is happening? He whispered. The curse, I said. The tree seemed to close in. You awakened it. He shook his head. Fix it. I can't alone, I said. The voice spoke again. Truth must be given. I looked at Kelechi. This isn't over, I said. And deep down, I knew. The hardest part had not even begun. The voice faded, but the fear stayed. We sat in silence for a long time. Kelechi stared at the ground. I watched the drum. Finally, he spoke. What does it want? I swallowed. Truth. I told you the truth. No, I said. You told part of it. He clenched his fist. What more is there? I hesitated. Then I said it. Why did it hurt you so much that I was chosen? He froze. For a long time, he said nothing. Then quietly, he spoke. All my life. I was second. His voice was low, almost broken. They praised my strength. My skill. But never enough. He looked at me. And then you came. I shook my head. I didn't take anything from you. But they gave it to you, he said. The drum paused again. Truth, deeper. I realized then. This was not just about the drum. It was about something inside him. Something buried. And if it was not faced, nothing would change. We stayed in the clearing as the night deepened. The forest felt alive, watching us. Kelechi sat with his back to the altar, his breathing uneven. I tried to be perfect, he said suddenly. I listened. I thought if I was strong enough, they would choose me. His voice cracked. But they chose you. The quiet boy. The one who never even tried to shine. I felt his pain, even through his anger. I didn't ask for it, I said softly. That's what makes it worse, he shouted. The drum shook violently. Lies remain. I stepped closer. You didn't just want the drum, I said. You wanted to be seen. His eyes filled with something I had never seen before. Not anger. Hurt. The ground stilled. The drum softened. For a moment, I thought it was enough. But then the voice returned. Not enough. And my heart sank. There was still more. The air grew colder. The drum's glow dimmed, but it did not return to life. What more do you want? Kelechi demanded. The forest answered with silence. I closed my eyes again, touching the drum. Another image came. This time, I saw my parents. I gasped. What is it? Kelechi asked. I stepped back. This isn't just about you, I said. What do you mean? I looked at him. The drum, it knows me too. The memory burned in my mind. My father standing before the drum years ago. A whisper of doubt in his eyes. A moment of fear. The curse started before you touched it, I said slowly. Kelechi stared at me. That's not possible. It is, I said. The drum paused again. Truth, shared. I realized then. This burden was not his alone. And if I wanted the drum to live again, I would have to face my own truth too. My hands shook as I spoke. My father was once a keeper, I said. Kelechi frowned. No one told me that. He failed, I whispered. The word felt heavy. He doubted himself. Just once. And the drum weakened. The forest seemed to listen. I grew up afraid, I continued. Afraid I would be like him. The drum glowed faintly. Truth. I tried to hide that fear, I said. Even from myself. Kelechi watched me closely. So you're not so different, he said quietly. I nodded. No. I'm not. For the first time, we stood on equal ground. Flawed. Human. The drum paused stronger. But then it stopped. Still, incomplete. I felt a weight settle in my chest. What else is left? I whispered. The answer came not as a voice, but as a feeling. A choice. And I knew it would cost something. The clearing grew darker, though the moon still shone. The drum's voice had not returned. I looked at Kelechi. We have told the truth, I said. Then why is it not enough, he asked. I did not answer. Because I already knew. The old woman's words echoed in my mind. The curse cannot be broken without sacrifice. My heart pounded. It wants more than words, I said. Kelechi's eyes narrowed. What do you mean? It wants something given. He stepped back. Given. I nodded. Something that proves the truth. Silence fell between us. Then slowly, he understood. You mean, a price? The drum paused once. Yes. He shook his head. No. But I saw the fear in his eyes. The same fear in my own heart. Because we both knew. This was not going to be easy. I won't do it, Kelechi said firmly. We don't even know what it wants. The drum remained still. I stepped closer to it. It wants what we hold on to most, I said. He laughed bitterly. And what is that? I met his gaze. Pride. His face hardened. No. Yes. The air thickened. You must give up what you've been chasing, I said. The need to be greater than others. He clenched his fist. And you, he shot back. What will you give? I paused. Then I answered. My fear. Silence. We stood there, facing each other. Two truths. Two burdens. The drum waited. Time felt like it had stopped. Finally, Kelechi spoke. If I do this, what happens to me? I swallowed. I don't know. The honesty hung in the air. And for the first time, he looked uncertain. Kelechi paced the clearing, his thoughts loud in his silence. I gave everything for this, he said. And lost everything because of it, I replied. He stopped. The truth struck him. The village. The sickness. The fear. All tied to his choice. I didn't mean for this to happen, he said. I know, I said. But it did. The drum paused faintly. Choose. He looked at me, his eyes filled with conflict. If I let go, who am I? He asked. I answered softly. Someone free. The wind stirred. The trees whispered. He closed his eyes. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then slowly, he knelt. I let it go, he said. My pride. My anger. My need to be chosen. The drum glowed brighter. But it did not fully awaken. Because now, it was my turn. My heart pounded as I stepped forward. What is your truth? Kelechi asked quietly. I looked at the drum. Then at my hands. I am afraid, I said. The words felt small. But they were heavy. I have always been afraid, I continued. Afraid of failing. Afraid of not being enough. The drum paused. Afraid that I was chosen by mistake. My voice shook. I hid behind silence. I pretended I was strong. Tears filled my eyes. But I am not. The clearing held its breath. I am just trying. The drum glowed brighter. But still, not enough. A deep realization struck me. This was not just about speaking truth. It was about living it. And I knew what that meant. I understand now, I whispered. Kelechi looked at me. What? I placed my hand on the drum. It's not just truth, I said. It's sacrifice. The drum vibrated. What are you going to do? he asked. I took a deep breath. If the drum chooses by heart. I closed my eyes. Then I must give mine. Before he could stop me, I struck the drum with all my strength. Pain shot through me. The world spun. Light burst from the drum. The ground shook. Kelechi shouted my name. But I could not hear him. The drum's voice returned. Loud. Deep. Alive. But it was different. It echoed with something new. Something heavy. And as I fell, I wondered if I would ever rise again. I woke to silence. Not empty silence. Peaceful silence. The drum stood before me, glowing softly. Kelechi sat beside me, his face pale. You're alive, he said. I tried to sit up. My body felt weak. What happened? I asked. The drum, he said slowly. It lives again. I looked at it. Its surface shimmered like water. But something changed, he added. I felt it too. A deep stillness inside me. The curse is gone, I said. But the curse remains. He nodded. I felt it, he said. When you struck it. What did you feel? He hesitated. Loss. I closed my eyes. I knew what I had given. Not my life. But something close to it. And as we prepared to return, I wondered how the village would receive us. The journey back felt shorter. Or maybe we were just different. The forest no longer felt heavy. The drum's quiet hum followed us. When we reached the village, people rushed toward us. The drum, someone cried. Hope filled their voices. I stepped forward, weak but steady. The elders gathered. Strike it, one said. I hesitated. Then gently, I tapped it. A deep, steady beat filled the air. Cheers erupted. Tears fell. The children smiled again. The curse was broken. But as the sound echoed, I noticed something. It was not as strong as before. Not as bright. Different. Kelechi stood beside me. Silent. And I knew. The story was not over yet. The village slowly returned to life. The crops began to recover. The sickness faded. But whispers still lingered. What changed? Why does the drum sound different? The elders called for a gathering. This must be explained, they said. I stood before the people, my heart heavy. Kelechi stood beside me. It was time. The drum was silenced by deceit, I said. Gasps filled the air. I looked at Kelechi. He stepped forward. I did it, he said. The crowd erupted. Anger. Shock. Why? Someone shouted. He lowered his head. Because I was blinded by pride. Silence followed. Then slowly. Understanding. The elder stepped forward. You have brought suffering to this village, one said. Kelechi nodded. I know. What punishment do you accept? The question hung in the air. Kelechi looked at me. Then at the drum. I will serve the village, he said. In any way needed. Without honor. Without title. Murmur spread. The eldest elder turned to me. And you, Ao? I swallowed. The drum lives, I said. That is enough. But it wasn't. Not fully. Because deep inside, I felt the change. And I knew the truth still needed to be spoken. That night, I sat alone with the drum. Its quiet beat echoed in the still air. You are different, I whispered. It answered with silence. Then softly. I understood. It had taken something from me. My fear. But also. A part of my joy. A part of my lightness. I felt heavier now. Stronger. But not the same. And I realized. Every choice has a cost. Days turned into weeks. The village healed. Kelechi worked without complaint. Quiet. Changed. People began to see him differently. And me. They respected. But I no longer felt like the same boy. One evening, the old woman appeared again. You have done well, she said. But you feel the loss. I nodded. Was it worth it? I asked. She smiled gently. That is for you to decide. Then she was gone. At the next festival, I stood before the drum again. The village watched. I raised my hands. And struck. The sound rang out. Deep. Strong. But softer than before. Different. The people danced anyway. Life returned. But I knew. The drum would never be the same. Because we were not the same. Now, when I sit by the drum, I think about that night. About pride. About fear. About truth. The drum still speaks. But it speaks differently. It carries our story. A story of broken trust. And hard healing. Kelechi stands beside me now, not as a rival, but as someone who learned. And me. I am no longer afraid. But I am no longer untouched. And maybe that is the lesson. When the drum fell silent, it did not just test us. It changed us. So I ask you, if your truth was called today, would you speak it? Or would your silence break everything?